Welcome back to the Bears and Lions podcast. We started a series about 3.5 weeks ago going through the origins of the days of our weeks. We started with Monday, and we went to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And don't worry, if you missed any of those episodes, you can go back and listen to them on YouTube or Spotify, or we're also on iTunes. But we've gone through those first few days, Monday through Friday. And today, with your permission, I would like to mess with your Saturdays, because about 10 years ago, I went through this series with a speaker, and the speaker spoke the same exact talk about the days of the week, and it impacted me so much. It changed my worldview. It changed the way that I looked at each of these days, and it's helped me develop such a better mentality when facing each and every one of these days. I see a rhythm, and so it helps me prepare. And if I've gone through it, I kind of want to share it with you. Maybe it'll impact you, maybe it won't, but I hope that it does. And I hope that it encourages you to look at life a little bit different, because there is a rhythm that takes place in each and every one of our lives. And we can see that in the origins of the days of our lives. And so Saturday is very unique. It's similar to Monday, where it just has this extra letter. Monday was known as Moon Day, where it had that extra O, right? But Saturday has an extra letter as well, because it is originally known as Saturn's Day. And Saturn was this really cool mythological god. He had this big sickle in his hand, and he's often depicted with these really big wings because time flies. Saturn is the Roman god of time and agriculture and liberation. And what's so unique about him is that there's a lot that goes along with it, but he has this sickle, which is what they would use for like harvesting and the growth of it. But he was also this god of time, and all of us experience time. And we all have this fleeting feeling that time is just breezing through our fingers, and we try to use our time wisely, right? We have all of these phrases about time: maximize your time, do your morning routines, and use your time wisely, etc., etc. But if there was one thing that's undefeated in life, it is Father Time, right? It doesn't matter how much is done or how little is done. Time will come for every single one of us, and it's up to us to do what we can with the time that we're given. So I'll ask you, what will you do with the time that you are given here on this planet? And I have to ask that question because it's a difficult question to ask. I've asked myself this question a lot. And after going through this series back in 2015, I really started asking myself, what is my purpose in life? And what is the brevity of life and how it impacts this? And what is the brevity of a moment where I would experience these moments where I was on top of the world, where I would be on top of the mountaintop, and then all of a sudden it would just gone in a moment. And I would look back and say, where did it go? How did this happen? And maybe you're like me. Have you ever experienced a moment where you just feel like time has stopped? Where it's like, this is the best moment that I just want to bottle and carry around with me and have it at any time. Maybe it was a moment of fame, or maybe it was a moment with your spouse or a girlfriend, or maybe a boyfriend, or maybe it was a specific accomplishment where you were presented an award and it just was this overwhelming feeling like time had just stopped and everything was just incredible. Have you experienced the opposite, where life is just vroom, zooming, vroom, 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 just by? You just have no recollection. Everybody asks you, hey, how you doing? It's crazy. We're doing this, we're doing X, Y, and Z, and we're also trying to handle this. And I've got in-laws, and I've got friends, and I've got dating, and I don't even know what's happening over the holiday week or the holiday time frame. So we're just going to experience it, and life just happens so fast. And there's this really cool verse in Psalms 39, 4-5. It says, Lord, remind me how brief my time on earth will be. Remind me that my days are numbered, how fleeting my life is. You have made my life no longer than the width of my hand. My entire lifetime is just a moment to you. At best, each of us is but a breath. Are you depressed yet? It's so sobering when you start looking at time and how quickly things have happened. And I'm just going to ad-lib a little bit from my preparation, because the reality is in reading those verses, what came to mind is how often I will look back at my life and say, this can't be. I can't be 35. I feel like just yesterday I was 18. I feel like just yesterday I was living in Louisiana and I was 24. And there's so many things that I've experienced, but it's gone by so fast and I can't hold on to the moments. And in fact, I really wish I had journaled more and taken more pictures, because I don't have any recollection of what actually took place. And it's only been from the journal entries or the memories that the stories that I've told over and over and over again that I actually remember what took place. And when I tell those stories, those memories come back to me and I remember them fresh. And I need that in my life, because I truly believe that we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. But there's so much of our past that is the purpose of this podcast. Our greatest future lies within the correct view of our past. And if we aren't actually looking at that moment and recognizing how quickly our past goes by and how quickly our life takes place, it's just a breath. Even at our best, at our very best, it is a breath. It says, you've made my life no longer than the width of my hand. If you look at your hand and you see how long that is. On the gravestones of somebody's life, you just see this dash where you have the day that they were born and the day that they died, and in between is just a dash, and that is the representation of how quickly life passes by. Have you ever asked yourself, where has the time gone? See, life has this uncanny ability to go really fast at times, and moments that we want to slow down seem to go at warp speed, just right past us. But maybe you're like me and you've experienced some rough patches along the road, and even though you keep telling yourself things like, this too shall pass, it's not passing. And it feels like time has stopped or slowed down. And what I've found is it's in those moments that we have to make our days count. We have to make them count. But how do we do that? How do we make our days count? How do we impact our days where we know that life is just the width of our hands? It's just a breath. We're here. It's a mist. It's a vapor. Boom. Done. I know people in my life who were friends of mine that have passed away. I know people in my life who have moved on, lived in other countries, lived in other states, done other things. I know people, or young people, who have passed away. The brevity of life, how quickly life goes by. So how do we make them count? How do we make our days count? There's a verse in Psalms 90:12, and I love Psalms 90. In fact, one of my key verses, it's a Psalm of Moses, but one of the key verses of my life is Psalms 90:14, which is, satisfy us in the morning with your unfailing love, O Lord, that we would sing with joy until the end of the day. Meaning, don't let me chase things that don't satisfy. Let me be satisfied in the morning through all the things that I've done and all the things that the Lord has brought me. Let me be grateful for what the Lord has done in my life, that I would sing with joy, not be bitter and just full of anxiety and exhaustion and not filled with gratitude. Like each and every one of us that wake up each day. It's so incredible that we wake up each day. But Psalms 90:12 teaches us how to make our days count. How to make them count. It says, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. See, in order to make our days count, we have to learn to count our days. And that's not easy. It's something that we have to learn. Otherwise, the psalmist would never say, teach us to number our days. See, he's asking, Lord, teach us to number our days. It's something that we have to learn. But how do we learn that? What does that even look like? And I think a lot of us, especially in today's society, we have so many distractions in our lives. We have so many things that just steal our time. We have things that will just draw our attention, and from left field it'll say, "Look at me, look at me, look at me." We're like, I am geared up, I'm ready to go. I did this one morning a couple months ago. I woke up to go to the gym. Not kidding. Woke up to go to the gym. I was stoked about going to the gym. I felt great. I woke up early. My alarm clock goes off at 4:45 during the week, and I woke up at like 4:40 or something like that. It was just before my alarm clock. I got excited. I woke up, put my shoes on, got my gym bag together, sat on the couch, and decided I'm going to open up social media. And for the next hour, I scrolled through social media and realized how quickly time had gone by, missing the opportunity to go to the gym because I had to get ready for work. And if I went to the gym then, I'd be late for work, and I can't be late for work. So I went to the gym after work that day. But it was this moment where I didn't even mean to. I just sat down for a moment, what felt like a breath, and time gone, wasted. I mean, I saw some funny memes and I sent some funny memes to people I know, which made people laugh. So not a complete waste, but we are so full of distractions. There are so many things that distract us in our daily lives nowadays. So in order to teach us to number our days, we have to recognize how the brevity of life is number one. But number two, we have to eliminate things and eliminate opportunities like that waste our time, that steal time from us. So now I know in the morning when I wake up, one of the things I do is I don't put my shoes on until I am literally walking out the door. But in order to make sure that I am still getting up and doing everything, I have kind of checklists on the way where it's like I wake up, do certain things. I have a certain little routine that's really quick, but I try to get out the door as soon as possible. So before I go to bed, I lay everything out. So there's no excuse and there's no reason for me to sit down. I wake up, I do the things I need to do, brush my teeth, put on my shoes, I'm out the door. Like as soon as I put on my shoes, I'm out the door. That's my rule now. So we have to eliminate things that steal our time. And then the second part is pretty important. And I think a lot of people don't understand the importance of resting well. But if you don't learn how to rest well, you will find yourself going really hard and crashing and burning and missing out time. I'll give you an example. I remember when I was in grind mode. Some people call it monk mode, but it's like the grind mode where you want to do as much as you can in the shortest amount of period of time. So you'll grind, you'll wake up early, you'll stay up late, all those things. Now, I'm all for doing it for a certain period of time, but I got into this rhythm where it was just the daily. Like I was drinking 2 energy drinks a day. I was staying up until probably midnight. I was waking up at like 6 or 7 in the morning. I wasn't getting adequate sleep. And I remember I started feeling sick and I fell asleep one night on I think it was a Saturday because it was an off day, but I fell asleep one night on a Friday night and woke up and it was Saturday afternoon. I didn't set my alarm, but my body had been so run down that I did not wake up until Saturday afternoon. And by then the entire day had pretty much gone by. So I just stayed in bed. I missed an entire day because I didn't learn how to adequately rest well, and it will catch up to you. It catches up to our bodies. So it is important to learn how to rest well, not just sleeping because you're sleeping, but being able to turn off social media, turn off the blue screens, read a little bit, turn off the lights, make yourself into a person who, when you get in bed, you go to bed. I'm not a huge fan of melatonin anymore because it messes with me a lot, but do what you need to do to set yourself in a rhythm. I set an alarm clock for when I go to bed. more than I do when I wake up. So eliminate things that steal your time. Learn to rest well so you can maximize your time and be available during your days and not dead to the world like I was. And then there's the last thing that I wanted to bring up, because I remember there's this really great Pixar movie, and a lot of people have seen it. If you haven't, go watch it on Disney Plus. But A Bug's Life, and A Bug's Life has this really awesome scene that kind of really, it's philosophical and comical at the same time. But they're having this carnival, or not carnival, it's like a circus that's happening. Like these bugs are doing this traveling circus, and the circus is so objectively bad. Like it's cringeworthy, if I can use that word. It's so bad that like you as a viewer is like, this is awkward. But there's two flies that are sitting in the stands, and one fly looks to the other, and it's so bad. One fly says, "I've got 24 hours to live, and I ain't gonna spend it here." And they both fly off. We have to be able to get to this point where we can just drop the things. Say, look, if this isn't working out, if we're wasting time, if we're doing these crazy things, doom scrolling at night and not falling asleep, we need to get to this point where I've got 24 hours to live. I ain't going to spend it doing this. I've got 24 hours to live. I'm not going to spend it being upset with some of the closest people in my life. I'm not going to be upset at my spouse. I'm not going to be upset at my girlfriend. I'm going to find a way to bring peace to my friendships. I'm going to find a way to bring creativity to these people at my job. I'm going to find a way to do this, even though I may not be able to, but I've got 24 hours. So I'm just going to do something productive rather than wasting time or complaining about it. I love that scripture says, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. See, I want Saturdays to remind us to count our days and make our days count. That we would be hyper aware of anything in our life that steals our time, and that we would be able to get rid of these habits that so easily creep into our lives. That at any moment we find ourselves doom scrolling or watching The Office for the 500th time. That we would remind ourselves of the scene from A Bug's Life. Because I've got 24 hours to live, and I ain't going to spend it here. It's our opportunity. Saturdays are our opportunity to count our days and to make them count. I want us to make our days count because life is so short. It is it's a handbreadth is what it used to be called. That's how they would measure things. Could I get a handbreadth of the fabric, or can I get a handbreadth of food? Can I get a handbreadth of this material? It goes by so fast. And at our best, we're here for a moment and then gone in a breath. All we get at the end of life is a dash in between the two dates that we lived. That's it. And I want to make sure that we maximize our time by making our days count. And we count our days to the point where we are ruthlessly eliminating the time that we are wasting doing things that don't matter. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's somebody in your life who you're like, this is just wasting time. This isn't really doing anything for me. And this isn't me cracking down and saying you need to get rid of all your friends, or you need to stop hanging out, or you need to stop doing this, or you need to no more video games or things. I still play video games. But I know that there are so many other things that I can be doing. And there are times when I will get on a video game because I know, you know what? I need to rest my brain and I need to just do something mind-numbing. I don't play them often because I don't have the time. I love Food Network, but I can't sit and watch Food Network all the time, even though I do it sometimes. But I have to make sure that I am counting my days and making them count. That is what Saturdays are. To me, Saturday is a reminder. Every single time I wake up on a Saturday, Saturday is the day that everybody is either on a hangover, they're doing things that are unproductive, and it's my opportunity to get ahead, or it's my opportunity to say, I've been burning the candle at both ends and I need to make sure that I rest well. So I'm not going to plan anything on this Saturday, and I'm going to rest. I'm going to focus on what I can. I'm going to recover, and I'm going to get ready so that Sunday and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm healthy, ready to go, and I am present every step of the way. I really appreciate each and every one of you who listen to this podcast. That's going to do it for this conversation. This conversation has been incredible. It's reminded me so much of the things that I've gone through. And then it's also reminded me of how I view each and every one of these days, whether I do it subconsciously at this point, but I've been going through this for years and years and years. And I don't even realize how much I just actually want to experience. How much on Fridays are days where I want to show a little bit more love, or Saturday is a day where I recognize that, you know what? I don't want to waste this time. I don't want to spend Saturday hungover. I want to wake up and I want to be productive. I want to go play basketball with the boys. I want to go golfing. I want to go do things that are productive and healthy and great for community and things like that. This conversation has been so good. I hope it's been good for you. I hope that you are encouraged. I hope that you're challenged to think about life a little bit different. And most of all, throughout all of this, I hope that you will like, subscribe, and share this series with a friend or two, maybe with some family members who need a reminder that there is a rhythm in life. So I hope that you will share this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. For everybody, I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week. Remember to give grace, show love, and as always, stay stellar. Peace.